Okay, so in the next chapter of tactics, we'll look at a very simple tactical theme known as the skewer. Skewer is basically an attack on two pieces in the same line or the diagonal, where the usually the bigger piece or the more powerful piece is in the front. It has to move away, and we can capture the piece which is behind it. So just to understand this example, now let us look at this position. The king and the queen are in the same line, right? And we have this rook. Now imagine I put the rook here. It will give a check. King has to move out of the check somewhere, right? Anywhere. And we can go ahead and capture the queen. As simple as that. This is a skewer. Let us go ahead and do that. Give a check. King moves away, and I'm able to capture the queen for free by making an skewer attack. Pretty simple, right? Again, skewer is an attack on two pieces in the same line. Usually, the bigger one in the front, in this case, the king, had to move out of the check and leaving the queen to be captured by the black rook, right? Pretty simple. Go to the next example. In this case, we have the bishop. The bishop is ready to attack along a diagonal where the king and queen are placed. Just think a moment, where would you place the bishop? Simply giving a check, let us say. A lot of times, students are very interested in giving some check somehow, right? If I give this check, king will simply go somewhere, and I have nothing to capture, no advantage. There's no prizes for giving a check, unfortunately. Okay, so check is a weapon. We have to use it to achieve something. Simply giving check means nothing. Okay, so just a simple tip for you. Now here I have another check which is possible, which is on g7, right? Here I'll give a check. King has to move, and we can capture the queen. That would be a skewer. In this example, we are using the check to achieve some advantage. Okay, so I'm skewering the king and the queen. King moves away, and I am able to capture the queen. Right? Pretty simple. In the first example, we saw example by skewer along a line using the rook. In this case, along a diagonal. Okay, and we are black here. Black to move, and how to skewer the king and the queen, which are in a diagonal, right? So we see the placement of pieces. This is like basic geometry, right? And we have the queen. So there are multiple ways to give a check and stuff, right? But none of that is much use, because here the king will simply capture it, and if I move it here, simply move out of the check. So not much use, right? So again, a check is only useful if it is used to achieve some particular target. Okay, so in this case, we have this diagonal where all the pieces are, and yes, I can take the black queen. That will make an skewer. Take the queen here. The king has to move out of the check, and we do capture the queen. Big material advantage using the tactics of the skewer, right? Pretty simple to understand, very basic tactic, but very powerful. Okay. In this case, we see the two target pieces. Both the rooks are placed along a diagonal. And think for a moment, which of our pieces can attack both of them at the same time? The bishop cannot do that, because bishop is on white. It will always remain on a white piece. And yes, we have to use the queen. Take a moment for yourself. Think about where to place the queen to skewer both the rooks. And yes, the correct idea is queen to c3. one of the rooks can move away. In this case, the rook on f6, leaving the other one to be kept. So again we skewered. Okay, in this particular case, both the pieces were of equal value, but they both were in a diagonal. There's no way for both the pieces to support each other, and only one can be protected. So very, very simple, very powerful tactic, the skewer. Okay, and here again we have the white queen, and we have black pieces on d5 and b7. The rook and the knight, which are in a diagonal and can be skewered. Think about it, how to do it, where to place the white queen. And yes, the correct move is queen to e4. And I'm attacking, I'm skewering the pieces. The rook can move away, I will capture the knight. If the knight moves away, I'll capture the rook. And I already told in one of the earlier lessons that when possible, you have to attack, you have to protect the bigger piece, right? In this case, the rook is 5 points correct and the knight is 3 points. So which is the piece to protect? The rook. The rook moves away and we capture the knight. So simple logic to make a decision. When two pieces are under attack, we protect the bigger one. Okay, that logic will help you most of the time. Okay, we'll look at one more example. Again, this is an example of skewer along a diagonal, and by now our pattern recognition tells the white king and knight are placed in the same diagonal, and I can move my bishop to f5. King has to move and I capture the knight. So basically these tactics, like I explained in the beginning, are a basic method to gain a material advantage. Using that material advantage, we can attack with more power and finally checkmate the opponent king. We'll look at the final example of the skew. Okay. Interesting. Took me some time to figure out. So I'll give you a bit more also. So which are the two black pieces? I'll give you a tip, okay, which are unsupported. Okay, so this is unsupported, this is unsupported, right? And the both pieces are in the same line. What to do now? How to gain an advantage? Little complicated. There are too many pieces in this position, right? But there's a simple method. Let us say I put the rook to h5. Right? Queen cannot stay there because it will be captured. Queen moves away anywhere. Let us say it captures the pawn, and I go ahead and capture the knight. Okay. Very simple geometrical tactic. Attack on two pieces on the same line or diagonal. Only one can be protected. Okay. I encourage you to solve all these examples. There are, I guess, 30 of them. Solve all of them. If you are not able to figure out, show the solution. You can look at the solution, but that should be the last resort. First, make a honest effort, make a decent effort. If you can't figure out, take some time. If you are able to figure out on your own, that will be the best thing. It will develop a imprint of the pattern in your mind, and you will be able to use it multiple times in your games. But for some reason you can't figure out, go ahead and see the solution, and that will help you to understand the concept. Okay, so with that, we'll close this chapter of skewer. Very simple, very important method of attack on two pieces in the same line or diagonal. I'll see you in the next lesson.